This video, taken May 25th, 2020, shows the moments right before George Floyd, a black man in Minneapolis, drew his last breath as Officer Derek Chauvin killed Floyd, kneeling on his neck for over 9 minutes.
Mama.
Floyd's horrifying fatal encounter with police, shining a spotlight on racial injustice and police brutality in the United States, igniting a groundswell of protests and demonstrations around the world.
George Floyd was a catalyst for change and recognition. And so what made apparent from his killing was that there was rampant racialized violence that was happening at the hands of police officers.
Over the weekend, communities and cities across the U.S. commemorated the 5th anniversary of Floyd's death with celebrations of his life and calls for a renewed commitment to racial justice, as people laid yellow flowers at the site where Floyd was killed, now called George Floyd Square.
When our nephew was killed, you know, there's two things that went on. People joined this change, became part of the change, but they didn't become the change. That's a difference. Because when you become the change, you become the movement, you become the change, and you become the voice.
Following Floyd's death, the U.S. Justice Department launched an investigation into the Minneapolis Police Department, which found that Black and Native Americans were being disproportionately targeted by police. In early January, Minneapolis and the DOJ agreed to enter into a consent decree, or court-ordered agreement, to reform the police department, something the Trump administration announced it would roll back last week. A setback, but not a deterrent.
With some of the recent changes at the federal level and some of the rumors around potential pardons and issues around the consent decree, you know, it's like an intentional reharming of the community, but that doesn't mean that we're going to allow it to break us.
The city of Minneapolis says it will continue to implement the reforms laid out in the consent decree despite the federal government's current stance. Candice Cole, Global News, Washington.